Onepage has all these little brilliant hacks built in where when you slide an element into place, it automatically adjusts things for you. Not just the colors and the font and things like that, which is actually quite basic, but it has presets for the right radiuses or the right sizes or auto functions for this, that, and the other, where you can literally operate it in like semi-autopilot mode and you don't have to think as much. So everything is really, really fast, not only in terms of editing, but then also at loading. On other page builders, you often encounter the problem where as soon as you have 1 or 2 videos or a few high-res images, now you have to do all the work of compressing everything and downgrading everything. Onepage does all of that for you.
Today, we're joined by Andrew. He's the co-founder of Purpose Recruiting. And this is a company that has totally revolutionized talent acquisition. Andrew's journey began early. He was studying at Cambridge University at age 17. And by 20, he worked with Richard Harpin, who's the CEO of HomeServe, which is like a $4.2 or $4.1 billion global company, where he witnessed recruitment challenges firsthand. This experience sparked an idea within him that top talent seeks purpose, not just a job. And Andrew moved to Belgium. He found a partner and he created Purpose Recruiting, striving for faster, smarter, and more meaningful hiring. Their unique approach combines digital marketing and purpose matching to align candidates with skills and company missions. This has resulted in some of Belgium's fastest growing time to hire rates, filling complex technical roles in 4 to 8 weeks or so. So that's a lot, but yeah, welcome, Andrew. We're so excited to have you here. What did I miss?
Yeah, that was a pretty good summary.
Awesome. Yeah, so I just want to start. We obviously gave you a little bit of an introduction there, but can you tell me a little bit more, maybe from whatever I already mentioned in the intro, how you got into this business and this sort of niche and how it's going?
Yeah, sure. It was a bit by accident, to be honest. I think in a lot of countries, recruiting gets a bad rep of just recruiters, headhunters pushing people's CVs, trying to fill slots as fast as possible. And we realized this was a really, really big pain, especially in Europe, where for IT profiles, technical profiles, engineering profiles, it was very, very hard to find good people who wouldn't leave after 6 months for companies. And this is something that our founder, Stefan Bostun, who's a big name in construction and real estate, production and supply logistics, saw. And we really needed to find a way to more quickly find these people, because the good employees, they are usually already busy. They already have jobs. They're already working somewhere else. They're not, on platforms, online searching for stuff. They're already busy. So we figured out, okay, we need to use digital marketing to make companies look really, really good on social media and then attract those people to come work for the company, not just because it's a good paycheck or a good salary or because it's a good environment, but also because they ultimately really believe in what the company does. And that's what we call purpose. So purpose can mean a lot of different things to different people, but for us, it's really what mission does a company have that they're trying to do, that if it didn't exist tomorrow, what would be missing from the world? And we try and find employees who align with that, and thereby they stay for the long term. And just by combining that, we've been able to get very, very fast time to hire rates, 4 to 8 weeks, whereas for the rest of the industry, it's often 4 to 6 months, and the selection you get is very low, both the number and the quality. We've been able to use digital marketing, and actually Onepage is part of that, to really accelerate the entire process and make it super fast, but also just super effective. So it's really on the rise now, and we've been doing this for about over a year. And the plan is to first really make this the mainstream way of hiring in Belgium, and then later across Europe and the rest of the world.
Wow. Yeah, that's super interesting. I don't think a lot of people, obviously it makes sense, right? If you're, you want to attract top talent, you almost have to market your business to that top talent. But what I'm hearing is that you're, not only, hiring faster, which is great, but the retention rates are longer. So you're sort of like, hitting it from both sides. We're getting better people and they're staying longer because, I think anyone who runs a business knows, it's so expensive to find people, bring them on board. And then if you lose them, you have to start that whole process over again, only to find maybe, somebody worse, or, you could sink more costs into finding the right people for your business. So really unique approach. And we're going to share, some of the work that you've done with Onepage a little bit later in this video. And I think you talked about this a little bit, but what would you say, sort of sets you apart from the competition, and what do you do particularly well that nobody else is doing in this space?
Yeah, the two big things I would say is, on one hand, the purpose matching. So not just matching talent based off of, okay, they've got some skills and some years of experience and they match the salary range, but also finding people who already have jobs with the digital marketing. That's what a lot of recruiters, especially in the traditional space, really don't do. So most of the work there is done with databases, with job boards where CVs have been passed around the industry for years on end, especially in high-end sectors like IT. It's just the databases of developers who've been in this industry for 10 years. And we often have clients come to us and say, we've been given the same CVs by 3 different headhunters.
Right.
And we don't know what to do. It feels like there's nobody in the market. And then we run a digital recruiting campaign with Onepage, and then all of a sudden they get all these new fresh candidates and they're like, where did these come from? We would have never found them anywhere else, but we found them with purpose recruiting and we found them way faster. Can we do this again? So it completely opens their mind in terms of what's out there and what's possible. And I think that's just simply because the rest of the industry is really fallen behind by 10, 20 years. And we really spent a lot of effort into designing our funnels to attract the right people quickly, and that's why it works.
Yeah, from an outsider's perspective, I mean, I would tend to agree. I feel like hiring in a lot of ways, especially in this like super focused, environment, feels broken. I can imagine that like these, like you said, these databases of resumes or these job boards with listings get stale really, really fast. And I've never heard, of sort of like, running campaigns to directly attract a talent. I'm sure that it's been done, but it's a super interesting business model. So let's change gears a little bit. Right now, your customers are primarily, companies who are looking to hire top talent. Can you walk us through sort of like from beginning to end? What specifically do you do for your customers? Are you creating pages for them, running ad campaigns? Walk me through that process.
Yeah. So the ideal customer is sort of between 10 to 100 employees, because at that rate, they sometimes have a HR department or a marketing department, but it's not a well-oiled machine yet that they just consistently have people coming in and working for them. So
Gotcha.
That's where we come in. And what we do is we help them start that recruiting campaign where we come in, we film all the material, we picture, the word in the industry is employer brand, but I like to rephrase it as we just make the company very, very attractive to someone who sees it from the outside. And we make it in not just the sense of, hey, this is a fun place to work and using a lot of corporate jargon, but no, this is what the company does in terms of a mission. For example, if it's a company that's contributing to, let's say, the ecological environment and helping to reduce the amount of space used by farming, or if it's a company that is supporting international organizations and supporting political systems, or if it's a company that is freeing up the time of its clients in a radical way. So it's a very, very specific angle that we go for. And then we convert that into a digital funnel using Onepage. We build a recruiting landing page for all of our clients, and that is customized to their business, to their branding, to the stuff that we've done. And we inject that with the copywriting, everything we've created, and we attach a funnel on the back end. Then we run ads to that on Meta, usually Facebook and Instagram, and we target it to people in a localized region, usually within like a radius of the office that they're hiring in, or if it's a larger company, then regionally across the entire country, like across all of Belgium, for example.
Super cool.
Yeah. And then usually within about 4 to 8 weeks, they get 50 to 100 candidates. We filter all those candidates on the back end, specifically based on what the client wants. So maybe there's specific programming languages that they need for a developer, or they need to be able to speak specific European languages for an international client, or they need to have been to several travel destinations for a travel agency. There's various customizations that we make. And then we also do the first round of interviews where we look at, okay, does this person really align with the purpose, or are they just looking for a job? Because that's the kicker between the people who are going to just stick around for 6 months and then leave, or the people who are going to be there through the rough times and the hard times, and they're going to stick with you for the long term and who are going to pay off in their investment. Because like you said, otherwise you're just going to be in this endless cycle of hiring and firing and people leaving and paying for more recruiting on and on. And once that process is all done, we just give the 5 to top best candidates to the client. They do the final stage interviews and select the ones they want to hire most.
Amazing.
So, usually how it runs.
Yeah, that's That's a really neat model, and I can tell you're doing a lot of the administrative work as well for the client, so that they're not just getting the first batch of candidates, but they're getting a very refined final product, which is really cool. And I would have to imagine that some of this branding work that you do, although you're specifically creating it just to attract talent, I would have to imagine that in many cases this rebranding, if you will, could also be used on the public facing side of the company. This might give them some clarity on their messaging, their company culture, that sort of thing. Do you see that happening ever? Or are they just using it mostly for, sourcing candidates?
Well, what we noticed was clients started saying that their own employees feel more proud because they see themselves in ads across the region and their friends see it and they think it's quite cool.
I'm sure.
Or their clients will see it and the clients will realize that their person who they're working with, if it's like a service provider, let's say an IT business that does efficiencies in ERP, they're like, oh, wow, they're growing, they're hiring. That means things are going well. So It actually helps to build trust in the company as well. And for some companies, we've even started offering additional lead generation projects on top of that because they realize that actually digital marketing works.
Yep.
Not only for recruiting, but potentially for other things. So it really opens their eyes in terms of what's possible. And a lot of that is very easily done in Onepage. The speed of implementation is largely what helps us to do that, which probably wouldn't have been possible before.
Absolutely. And we'll take a look at a couple of the pages that you've built because they are truly beautiful. They're really well designed. They look great. I can totally understand how this is like, boosting morale and attracting good candidates all at the same time. And you're able to do it quickly. We'll talk about, maybe how you do some of the ad reporting with Onepage if you have that all synced up. But before we get there, let's talk about one other thing, which is you've been in the space, a while. There's lots of, options out there in the marketplace. Can you talk about maybe some of the struggles you used with other platforms prior to coming to Onepage, what those were, and then, how Onepage made, the process that much more simple, that much more efficient?
Yeah. So, I mean, for years, probably about 9 or 10 years, I worked with pretty much every single, we call them, I guess, no-code builders in the market,
Right.
drag and drop blocks where you essentially can plaster together your site with presets or you have templates and then you just connect it to a domain and it goes live.
Right.
And it sounds easy on paper and it's always advertised on paper and on the website, it looks very neat. And then you enter it and within about 5 minutes, you realize that it's going to take you about 8 hours to get to grips with how it actually works, just to even get a basic image and text to look barely okay. And I spent years learning these things. And it probably took me about 20 to 40 hours to get really the hang of every single builder until I came to Onepage, where I could literally build a site in 2 hours. And I understood all the features and I understood how to do it. And it looked good in the end. And it was fast and it loaded instantly. And there were no bugs and it just worked. And the main difference is that in all the other page builders that I've seen, and this is the same problem if you do custom code, by the way, because I've even tried that and we have had clients who've come to us with custom coded websites and it's an absolute mess on the back end. And the thing is, they're really proud of it because they spent like a huge amount of budget on this.
Sure.
Had developers code it, but it's a complete mess and it doesn't work.
Can't maintain
The problem
it.
is, you have a huge level of customization. So you can change every pixel, you can change the radius of every box, every image, you can move it wherever you want on the screen. But the problem with that is you create so many micro decisions that you have to take and so many little actions and adjustments that at the end of the day, it takes you months and sometimes years to finish an actually good page if you're doing it for yourself. If you have a team, okay, it'll be faster. But for smaller businesses who are trying to focus on the day-to-day, for agencies that only have a few people, for when stuff needs to be delivered quickly, you can't be clicking around, micro-adjusting things here and there. And that was the one big difference. Onepage has all these little brilliant hacks built in where when you slide an element into place, it automatically adjusts things for you. Not just the colors and the font and things like that, which is actually quite basic, but it has presets for the right radiuses or the right sizes or auto functions for this, that, and the other, where you can literally operate it in like semi-autopilot mode and you don't have to think as much. So everything is really, really fast, not only in terms of editing, but then also at loading. On other page builders, you often encounter the problem where as soon as you have 1 or 2 videos or a few high-res images, now you have to do all the work of compressing everything and downgrading everything. Onepage does all of that for you. Like same thing with SEO. One Page does it for you. A few clicks here and there. All of these things have been thought of by the team, and you can really, really see it. A big way I can also see this is kind of like in classic software design, where if you looked at software before Apple came along, it was very clunky. There were lots of options and things to press, which for a programmer and developer is great because you can customize everything.
Right.
But for someone who just needs something to work and be easy and get it done, that's a hindrance. So One Page is very like Apple. I think it's just built on those same principles, and I can even see that in their designs. They're using similar things. It's just made to work, and it does that in a very good way. I've honestly not seen any other page builder do this in years, and I think it's going to go very far. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. Thanks for all the compliments right away. We actually hear this a lot talking to customers that it has an Apple-esque vibe to it, and a lot of people and customers actually to describe it in comparison to Apple. So you're, in that camp as well. And you're right, like, especially for the work you do, you can't spend, years or months even tinkering, with a site to get it pixel perfect. When you can use something like One Page, you have to hire someone, you have to do it quick. So using a tool like One Page where you can get something done in half a day or quicker really makes a huge difference for, your agency as well as the client that you're ultimately, trying to get somebody in the door, as an employee for. You talked a little about the performance before and after. So, I'd like to touch on that a little bit more, as well as, there's a ton of different features within One Page. We could probably spend half an afternoon talking about them. But, what do you find, as it relates to performance and design, what do you, find particularly important or useful for your business when using One Page? It could be the SEO, it could be, the ability to track an ad pixel or anything like that. Is there anything that you find that's really, really valuable?
Yeah, I'd say probably 2 or 3 things. The first thing is, once again, just the speed of building a page and getting it all done. And not just like, okay, wham, bam, something, but actually something that looks as if it could have taken 2 to 3 weeks to make.
Yeah.
If I compare our before and after using One Page, before it would take us about 3 to 4 weeks to launch a literal one-page landing page. With One Page, we can do it in 4 to 8 hours. I mean, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Really insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With the other thing was, the ad tracking. So One Page is very good, already pre-built things where you can very easily track Meta Pixel, but also Meta Conversion API, LinkedIn Insight Tagging Conversion API. That is very easy to set up. You do not need any code whatsoever. On other page builders, you have to download plugins. The plugins don't work half the time. It's buggy. You have to have lots of complicated interfaces. On One Page, you can literally, with one click, add a tracker to a button, to a menu, to a page. I've not really seen that done anywhere else, and it does it very, very well. So you can see that the One Page has been built for people like us, for advertisers that run heavy ads to the page. It doesn't inhibit the bandwidth. The page speed is instant. Essentially, the loading speed is instant, which is great for recruiting, for webinars, for lead generation, for anything really. And the tracking works really, really well. And the third point is the design angle. So the One Page team really stays on top of modern website design.
Yep.
My favorite sort of recent one was the bento grids and the mesh backgrounds. Once again, borrowing from Apple's design ideology, but also more recent trends. So a lot of what happens to a lot of website builders is they're founded in a specific year and they sort of stick in that time realm.
Yeah.
You can see that they gradually get outdated. And you can see sort of when a website was built just looking at the design, but One Page really tries to stay with or even ahead of the design curve. And that means that you constantly get new elements and new layouts that you can use that keep the page very fresh and into whatever year you're using it in. So I think those are the 3 things for us really make it a great tool.
Yeah, thanks for going through all that. That's amazing. And for anybody who's, not familiar with running ads, what Andrew was talking about here is you can literally track specific events, not just on the page, but within specific buttons, specific elements. So if you want to track how many customers coming from an ad clicked, a sign up button or a learn more button, you could do all of that with a custom event tracking right within One Page, and you don't have to add any custom code, which is really, really nice. Or install a third-party plugin that might need to be constantly updated or break or give you unreliable data, security risks, and the list goes on and on.
Yep.
So yeah, I think this would be a great time to pull up a couple of the sites that you've built on Onepage. I think that the audience is really going to enjoy seeing these. They're beautiful. They look really nice, and I'm sure that they convert very well. Can you see my screen here?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So this is Forax. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Just walk me through this page. I mean, we don't have to go through the whole thing, but maybe, point out, some of the, some of the features and elements that you use within Onepage to build this.
Yeah, this was a really fun project because these guys really work at the heart of international organizations in Europe and Brussels. I can't say a lot of the clients that they name. I wish I could.
Sure.
But that's why the campaign worked really well, because it was a bit of curiosity that helped drive it. But yeah, you can see we used quite a bit of nice stuff. If you scroll down, just a lot of nice layout that was very simple to make, that makes the page look very premium. Grids and everything, colors worked very, very well. With their brand, it was super easy to adjust. Icons, yeah. Spacing was all on point. Previously, it would have taken hours to get any of these pixels correct. To calculate it all, but this was just very, very. I think we made this page in literally one day.
Wow.
Of course, we got the pictures and everything beforehand. The video was edited separately, but in terms of putting it all together, that process was very fast. Yeah, I like this bit. It was fun, showing all the benefits that they get for joining the company aside from the purpose. And then we've got the requirements in terms of who they were looking for the operations.
This nice sort of timeline look. It looks really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the features the Onepage sort of popularized, was the cool sliding timeline. Looks very good on desktop, also on mobile.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we probably drove thousands of people onto this site, and I think they ended up hiring 2 or 3 people from this campaign as a result. So we're still working together with them now on even more roles, which is fun. So
yeah, you finding that
testimonials page?
With the slider here. Yeah, it looks really nice. Yeah, and I love that, how each section is, clearly defined. You have some, different colors from section to section to break it up with, nice imagery, graphics, these different sort of elements and icons that you were able to add to Onepage. It looks really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's a very, very simple site, but it does the job incredibly well, and it just looks clean, looks professional, works with their brand, was super easy to set up, and loads like a charm. So it did the job exactly as we wanted it to.
Perfect. Are you finding that a lot of your customers are, leaving these sites up beyond the campaign to use for additional hiring? I would imagine that they are, but just curious to see.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, because often we run these as a subdomain.
Right,
careers. So careers.domain.com.
Yep.
And quite often the customers will end up wanting to hire other roles, and we'll expand the page and they'll just integrate it into their main site. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll even help them make more sites or more pages with it. We have to see. But no, exactly. Because if it works, then it works,
Perfect.
The funnel stays there. So
awesome. Yeah, thanks for going through that one. Let's pull up one more real quick and walk through this one. So this one is this is your site, correct? Purpose Recruiting.
Yeah. Our site, yeah.
Yeah. Again, really nice hero. I love your heroes. I'll have to try to reverse engineer this at some time, because I really like how you're laying out everything in your heroes with this nice text. I mean, there's a lot of information here, but somehow it doesn't feel busy. You have these nice videos and graphics here. But yeah, I'll let you go through your site here, but this looks really good.
Yeah, it was a challenge. I think with our own websites, we're often even more perfectionistic.
Sure.
There's that, but we sort of try to communicate what we do in a way that's different from normal recruiting, which I think captures us quite well. Getting the Belgian angle with, of course, the famous Brussels background.
Yep.
Then we have the success stories, which is quite cool. Using the video embeds with this. Though what was really interesting is by using these, the page speed was actually much faster than using traditional code embeds that take time to load, because the videos actually load in the background. But Onepage loads the thumbnail, so to speak, which is great for mobile loading speed, because most of our traffic, of course, is from ads and mobile.
Of course.
And down here, we had a really nice section where we pieced together the testimonials, so client results. So like a mixture of lists, videos, some custom graphics, all spliced together for 4 different case studies.
This looks really good.
Yeah, we'll keep. Let's see.
Yeah, I love how you have these like, either graphics or images or videos like paired next to the graphic showing the metrics from the campaign. It really tells a visual story really nicely.
Yeah.
So
Oh
it
yeah,
looks
and
really
here
good.
we have the classic pain points. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course the customer's map of Belgium. Some more layouts. Yeah, this is like a 3-box layout, and this is a double column. And then we get onto some more previews of
Oh, wow. Yeah.
other projects. Yeah, so different roles that we filled, industries. And then below this, oh yeah, we have the very nice bento grid, which kind of summarizes everything that we do. So once again, newest one-page update. Before this, we couldn't do it, but what's the newest one-page update that was possible?
Yeah, absolutely. We always try to, stay as up to date with the current design trend so that, like you said, there are definitely, page builder sites that you can tell the era that they're built in. And One Page does a good job with the design team, having these different elements and sections readily available. But you can also, start with a blank page, of course, if you want, and just add in things as you need it, or custom elements, custom code, that kind of stuff if you want it. So
yeah, exactly. So, yeah. And then we have the classic timeline. This list at this point, we've added more pictures to that. Yeah, we have a before, after.
and you have the CTAs in your timeline. It looks really good. Yeah, and there's a ton of information on this page, but the way that it's broken up, and it's meant to be a sales page, of course. So typically
exactly.
the more information, the better, and you don't feel like the way that everything's broken up on this page. You've done a good job of breaking up the sections so that you're almost going through a story, and you're curious to kind of keep scrolling because everything looks so nice as well. But yeah, this looks really awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share, on this page or this site before we move on?
No, I think it's good. Oh, there's another banter grid. Yeah, fun
Yeah,
stuff.
down here.
Yeah.
Nice
I think, like, all
FAQ.
in all, like, this whole thing would have probably taken months to build if we'd used any of the previous builders we'd used. But in One Page, once again, this was so fast to build. I think maybe only 1 week in the end. And any time that we need to edit something, it's so easy. We just go in and we click on an element and we change it, and we can do it in literally seconds. And
Yep.
and we hear all the time from clients or from other companies that are still using old builders, like, oh yeah, we need to talk to our developer and our webmaster who's someone's cousin and who knows
Right.
where, and it takes them like a week to update one image. And I just don't understand how companies function this way. I think that you need to be able to edit something like that, especially when you're building a landing page, when you're running a marketing funnel. You need to be able to make fast changes. So you just need something that is fast and responsive, and quite frankly works. So we're very happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing these interviews, so that we can, educate consumers about, our product, and, how people like you are using it in real world business, situations, and running marketing campaigns to it, building for customers, and so on and so forth. So just a final question here for you. Overall, how has One Page, improved and simplified your work? Of course, you've touched on a lot of it, but if there's anything you can hone in on, that would be amazing.
Yeah, the main thing is, honestly, it's transformed our time to build and time to hire for our own clients, essentially, because we're able to build a page in just a few hours instead of days, weeks, or months. And that makes everything faster. We're able to set up marketing campaigns faster. We're able to get leads for our clients faster. We're able to help our clients hire new employees faster and get more leads for ourselves. So we removed a ton of headache around dealing with lots of different tools that previously didn't work, or builders that were slow or laggy or broken in any way or outdated. And it's actually made building websites really fun for our team. Like, everybody can get involved, everybody can make changes. You don't need some sort of crazy degree or coding background to, obviously that helps with custom elements, but if someone needs to make a change, it can be done super fast. And it actually makes building websites fun. It's no longer this like tedious, grueling, it's pixel by code process that it used to be. So it's totally transformed our business, and I think it will continue to do so.
Amazing. We're so glad to hear it. Thank you for being a One Page customer, sharing your story a little bit here. I know there's probably a ton that we didn't cover, but we got a glimpse of how you're using One Page to serve real clients, run ad campaigns, which is super interesting. We will share a link to your business website in the show notes. but really appreciate you coming on today, chatting with us about Onepage. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, Art.